So bass players are fairly notorious for not changing strings very often or at all, right? There's running jokes and memes online about it, have been for years, but as a guitar player, I change my strings on a fairly regular basis, but especially before I do any kind of like serious recording, right? So I'm getting ready to record a 5-song EP, and I want to make sure I have the best bass tone that I can get on these songs. So I'm assuming that I'm going to want to change the strings on this bass to get that. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare the sound of this bass with old strings and new strings and see if there is a tone difference. If there is, how much, and is it worth changing strings? Okay, a couple things to keep in mind as we get started here. These strings have been on here for a year and a half, I can't remember, it's been a while, but I'm a guitar player, so this does not get daily or even weekly play. So if you're a bass player with your strings on there that long, you're probably gonna have a lot more funk and gunk in the strings, and also just some more wear and tear than what I have. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, we're going to be replacing these strings with the same kind of strings. I'm currently using the notorious, this series. I only choose these because I used this series of guitar strings for like the last 20 years or whatever, and I really like those. So I'm not married to these, but I think they're great and sound just fine. But if you have a suggestion for a different kind of string that I could try, let me know in the comments down below and why I should try those, because I might do that. And then also we're going to do finger pick and pick examples on this. I play both, mostly finger pick, but I also know there's both kinds of bass players out there. And so we'll go do both to kind of cover all the bases. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into my recording session I have set up here in Studio One. You see these green tracks right here? These are the bass tracks we're going to be listening to with old strings and new strings there. They'll also, each of those bass tracks is running through the same VST plugin here. It's the Ampeg SVTR Classic from Brainworks. I got this on Plugin Alliance. I love this plugin. I think it sounds great, and it just kind of really sits in the mix really well. It's got a nice little growl, bite edge to it. I think it sounds fantastic. So we're going to be using that. And then if we see right here, these orange tracks, the drums you're hearing, that's what these are. They're just acoustic drums. There's no mixing or anything on these yet. These are just raw, straight drums, just a little fader, leveling, that kind of thing. And then the blue tracks here, these are scratch tracks. So the guitars, the vocals and stuff you're going to be hearing, that's what these are. These will be replaced with final recordings as I continue to record this song. And by the way, if you'd like to see how I actually do record this song all the way from the very beginning to the very final finished recording, make sure you check out the link in the description down below. I have a playlist I've created of how I like to record my songs, and we use this song as an example, again, all the way from the very beginning to the very end. So make sure you check that out down below. Okay, so let's go ahead and start listening to these bass tracks. First thing we're gonna do is go back to back in the context of the other tracks, so kind of hear them in a musical context, and then we'll solo up the bass tracks all on their own, and again go back to back. That way we can really hear what differences may or may not be there, right? So as you're listening to this, let me know in the comments down below what you're hearing. Okay, so what did you hear, or what did you not hear? Did you not hear any difference, or did you actually hear a difference between the different bass tones? So let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Now, as far as what I was hearing, sitting here in my studio with my speakers right here, not going through YouTube or a phone, right? I could hear a difference. With the new strings, there was a little bit more high end. There's a little bit more of this like mid-range growl thing going on. And those are two things I'm usually looking for in my bass tone. I find that helps my bass guitar sit better in the mix in the context of all the guitars and the kick drum and all that kind of stuff. Now, was it night and day difference? No, it wasn't. I think if I was a bass player playing my bass all the time for a year and a half and my strings were grimier and more worn out, I think there definitely would have been more of a difference than what I had. But again, it wasn't night and day under my circumstances. So was it worth it to pay the $25 for these strings and the time to change them, all that kind of stuff? In my case, yes. So again, this is my 5-song EP. This is an important project for me. I'm spending money on session players. I'm spending a lot of time on this and all that kind of stuff. So the extra little bit of money and the time to do it, to get just a little bit more of a better tone, then yeah, that's worth it to me. Would it be worth it as far as like if my friends called me up and want me to sit in on a jam session or something? Of course not. There wasn't that big of a difference. But again, if you're a bass player and you play way more than I do and your strings are grimier and more worn out, I'm pretty sure you're going to hear a bigger difference in that situation. So then it might be worth it in that case. Okay, so there we go. Once again, make sure you check out that link in the description down below to how I like to record my songs. Again, using this song from very start to the very end, all the way through. One of these videos is about how I like to record bass. So if you want to check that out, link in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.